That's just like your opinion, man. But that shadow of opinion in gene key 16 can do a lot of damage. It gives way to the gift of farsightedness and the Siddhi of omniscience. Am I saying that word right? Omniscience? Omniscience. I'm Molly, you're watching Mirror Readings. Thanks for being here on my channel. Let's get into gene key 17. When we're in that shadow of opinion, and that means that we're running all of the data we're receiving from the outside world through the perspective of our opinion, and therefore it's distorted, right? And it's usually coming through a filter of restlessness or unease or mistrust in some form. But we are literally blocking out our third eye and our ability to gather data from beyond our physical five senses when we're in our shadow of opinion. And we can't trust the data we're gathering from our five senses because it's all filtered through our opinion. Good luck finding a human being on earth that doesn't have an opinion, right? You've heard that saying about opinions being like assholes? Well, that's because having an opinion is not the problem. Overly identifying with and pushing our opinion on others is the problem. And that's what happens in a reactive tendency of this shadow. In a repressed state, this shadow can be extremely self-critical or defensive of anything that it perceives to be going up against that shadow of opinion. And if we're going to play the dangerous game of expressing an opinion, the healthiest way to do that is always through playfulness. If we're able to be playful about our opinion to begin with before we even express it, that means that we're not grasping onto it, right? We haven't over-identified with it. So always bring playfulness into your expression of opinions. Playfulness is not always appropriate, obviously, but most of the time it's a great way of like cracking the nut within ourselves as to whether we're too identified with an opinion to be able to express it in a constructive way. What's going on underneath the surface of an opinion is the need to like affix our perspective to something certain, right? And certainty is a total illusion in this dimension. So once we become overly attached to that false need for certainty, we're totally blocking all of the possibilities that can come through at the gift frequency. In order to take the far-sighted view on life, we can't be taking things personally, and we can't be overly identified with our opinions. We have to be able to zoom out and see the whole system, not only our place in the system, but what all of the other variables in the system want and need. That far-sighted view brings us into the future of humanity. We are totally stuck in the past as a species if we're locked into opinion. All of life is change, right? Nature is change. So once we let go of that need to identify with something fixed via our opinion, we're now available to all the possibilities that life has to offer, and far-sightedness can set us on our path. You could also call it the gift of prediction or pattern recognition, because that's what far-sightedness actually opens up. And we're getting data not just from our five senses, but from our third eye as well. We're able to receive more intuitive data through this gift. We really can't see the whole picture if we're locked into the either-or duality that opinion naturally cultivates. So again, we're going to use playfulness to dislodge our grasp on identifying with our opinions, and we're going to get right over to that gift of farsightedness, which then takes us to the Siddhi of omniscience. All right, once we can totally disidentify with our individual opinion and see what's best for the whole, we're taking a system-based omniscient approach. From that state of omniscience, we're merged with divine intelligence. And from that perspective, we can see that we came to Earth for a specific purpose for our soul, that our human self is just an avatar that our soul is playing. Kabbalah tells us that all of our souls have what's called a tikkun. It's a certain set of corrections that our soul needs to make during this lifetime. So if we take that perspective, we can see from the place of omniscience that whatever is happening in the moment is perfect because it's what our soul needs to evolve. So even if everything is totally fucked up, nothing's fucked here, dude. Because we see that what's happening in the moment is what our souls need to complete its correction, right? In order for us to resolve our tikkun in this lifetime, we have to go along with whatever the great cosmic algorithm serves up that's for our highest evolution. So remember, playfulness is the on-ramp to dislodge opinion, and from there, we're able to take on the more vibrant collective perspective that everything is happening for a reason and it's all okay, even if it's not. Thanks for tuning into Mirror Readings. I'm Molly, and that was Gene Key 17. Want to get a reading from me? Visit my website, mirrorreadings.com. Subscribe to this channel to save 15% on all my offerings. And I want to know from all of y'all, what is the opinion you have the hardest time letting go of? Someone asked me today to focus on an opinion this week that I could let go of, and I could not think of a single one. This is a red flag, FYI. So what opinions are you willing to examine and possibly let go of? Leave me a comment. And if you have any questions, email me, mirrorreadings@gmail.com.